Hi, this is Dave Mast for Holmes County Ticket. We're here today in the West Holmes Knights locker room with head coach Kevin Maltarich. Kevin, I guess welcome me to your home.
Yeah, welcome.
What we wanted to talk about here was a little bit about your coaching staff. You know, you guys have put together a staff that very cohesive, works well together. Talk a little bit about how you went about kind of forming this coaching staff.
The one thing I want to do is keep, the guys that have been around this program and have been through it. I want to get guys like that on board. Tom Estep, he's our defensive coordinator. He was a coach here for a long time, and he played here. And that's kind of what we set our roots on. Is we want West Holmes people, and he's a good guy. He knows the game in and out, and he's been here. Been a long time assistant under my dad. He was the head coach here for a few years, and he played here. No better. He knows West Holmes. And that's one thing. He's a West Holmes guy through and through, and that's what we wanted. And then the other thing is I want to get some winning attitudes in here. And we got Tony Roberts and Kelly Camacho who have played here. And those guys, you bring those guys on board, and they know what it takes to be a champion, a conference champion, or a playoff caliber team. Because they've lived it and they've been there, and plus they know my system. They ran it here with my dad, and I want to get people that are familiar with that. So those guys I brought those guys in. And then Ron Hay, he's been a West Holmes guy since 1986. He played college football at the University of Ashland, so he's got a good background in football. And we kind of brought these guys all together, and we all have a similar goal, and that's what's best for the kids and to get these kids successful. And we work very, very well together. We joke around, we tease, we go places here and there, and we all work somewhat close here. And it's just it's a real good atmosphere, and I really enjoy those guys.
And there's no lack of intensity with those guys either, especially Ron. Ron's a fiery competitor. I know Kelly is. Tony has been over the years, and it's a nice mix of it's a complementary mix, isn't it?
It is, and it's kind of they took on my mindset. I mean, they already had it, but they kind of took it on, things I like. When between the whistles, it's intense. And I tell those guys we want to coach how we want our players to play, and it's in between the whistles we're going to be intense. But when it's time to go off, we're slapping their backs and
taking them out for supper,
taking them out for supper, and all that other stuff. So.
And lastly, you touched on your dad. He was here coaching for I don't know how many years, but talk about your relationship with him. I guess as a youngster growing up, seeing him coach, how much of an influence has that had on the way you coach the game?
Oh, it's huge. I grew up watching him coach at all different levels, at high school, college, and pro camps that he's been up to, and talk with Nick Saban, a bunch of those guys. I'd be on his heels falling up there. So I got a good feel of the game through probably about age 6. I was on the sidelines. And, it's just one of those things that I knew I wanted to get into that, and he's been a great mentor to me. And, it was funny because during 2-days all these years, kids are off sleeping in or whatever. I was at 2-days, starting the day, time I was 6, and, through the years, some of that stuff is kind of, ingrained into my brain here. But,
it's got to stick, I guess.
And the good thing about my dad is he's honest with me. Is try-away game. I got home and I had a phone call waiting on me. You need to call your dad. And hey, you're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong. And but in a good way. He wants to see West Holmes succeed. He wants to see me succeed. And he's going to keep me on my toes and make sure that I continue to get better and not complacent, which is real good because everybody needs somebody like that. And I owe everything to him. I got a lot of respect to him, not only as my dad, but as a coach. I don't know if there's anybody better in the business.
Yeah. And I guess old coaches, they never retire. They just keep on coaching. So I'm sure that the communication lines are still very open in terms of preparing and even afterwards, just kind of knocking ideas around.
It really is, and if I get stumped or if I have questions on something, he's the first guy I call, and he throws some things out there, and there's some things he learns from me that I've picked up along. Hey, that's a great idea. I've never thought about that. Things like that, but. The thing about it is you have to have an understanding for what you do, and he has such an understanding for the game. He can listen to the game on the radio and know exactly what happened, what took place, what we ran, and where we went wrong or where we went right. And that's kind of it's interesting to me because I'm still figuring out, hey, how did he figure that out? He knows what's going on, so it's good to have him around. It really is.
Well, there you have it, from the old school to new school for the Maltarich family, and a coaching staff that really has gelled and become cohesive, and I think it's something that people often overlook. You see the guys on the field, but you oftentimes forget about the guys that are teaching what's going on in the field. And that's the important thing that Coach Maltarich has put together with his staff here, just as important as what takes place on the field. So until next time, as always, go Knights. I'm your host, Dave Mast for Holmes County Ticket.